The bear grabbed Anna by her skinny little ankle and began dragging her into the thicket. Vladimir, his body desolate, looked on, shaking violently. He reached for his pouch and pulled out his Glock and pointed at the bear while Anna's little leg was in its mouth, and he knew it was risky to take a shot. But he decided to do what he did. What's up, guys and gals? Iceman here. Welcome to Chilling Tales. So, this one just happened not too long ago, alright? In Russia. And it took place along some highway not far from a hotel, way out in the boonies. Anastasia and her boyfriend, Vladimir. Very strong looking guy. Big, bulking guy, about 6'4", 6'5", and this nice, short lady, just this pale skin, these little beady eyes, these big, luscious lips. It's just unbelievable what happened on that wretched day. But if y'all will like the video, subscribe to the page. Appreciate y'all for supporting the videos. Become a patron or a channel member if you want to support the Chilling Tales. So Russia is known for its brown bears. Now these aren't grizzlies. They're sort of a Euro-like brown bear, alright? They don't have the massive hump on their backs, but nonetheless, they kill people. Often. They venture out into the great mountains of Russia, and you just never know what you're going to get. In fact, the Bering Straits out there, if you guys have ever looked into it, that thing, that landmass or whatever that connects, is it Alaska to Russia? Way up in there. They say that some time ago, the short-face bear prevailed in that region. It basically held it as its territory. And they kept people from crossing the Bering Straits. Alright? And the short-faced bear were like built kind of like a tall cat, only it was a bear. They had those big, strong forelimbs. And just the sort of shorter snout, but a very robust, strong skull. Extremely powerful. It could stand like 15 feet tall. It's just unbelievable. These things were taller than a man just at the shoulder when they were on all fours. So I think that to some extent, these other bears are related to them, man. These ones out in Russia. In fact, there's a couple stories of people speculating that they saw a short-faced bear out there in modern times. A few hunting stories. I'm going to tell some of those on this channel. But poor little Anastasia. The girl loved to play piano. Alright? She would record herself playing piano. She'd get all dressed up, like done up in little dresses and stuff. Like, you know, have you seen those YouTube channels where the chicks are doing that these days? This one, I don't know. I don't want to get into the details too much of her personal life, but it was kind of like that. Alright? She'd wear these little sequoian, sparkly dresses, playing the piano, this and that. But this bad boy, Vladimir, was a bit of a drinker. He was a boxer as well, just on the side. And they were coming back from some bar. Little Anna had to go wee, right? So she looks back, she's like, Vladimir, pull over, I've got to go wee. And they pull over to the side of the road, right? It just feels a bit haunting. There was something off. You could hear the crickets of the night. You could hear the howling of the wind. So Vladimir's on his bike, takes off his helmet, sets his helmet down. He's like, okay, I'll be right here waiting for you. So she goes off down this little hill toward the trees, and she sort of gets between where the trees are so she's not seen, right? And she leaves her helmet back at the bike. She has just her little tiny vest on, her little boots, her little shorts. And she unzips her little shorts and she starts going away. Alright. That's when she heard something. A guttural. She was like, oh my God. What was that? She looked back. She looked again. And she heard something shuffling in the woods. She thought maybe it was a stalker or something, right? Like a guy. I mean, like I said, she's a good-looking chick. You just never really know. But she was right in the middle of her way, and she was like, and she had her little jean shorts wrapped around her ankles. She was like, Vladimir! Oh my God. And then she turned back around. And that's when this bear was right in front of her face. This huge skull, like this wide. Alright? And she could just smell the rotting flesh. She could smell the stench that this creature emitted. It smelled like fish and urine. Alright, very musty smelling. And it was right in front of her face, and she was just terrified when she saw it. And it sort of snorted at her, and it picked up its claw like this. And it had these massive, yellow, bacteria-ridden claws. And it just sort of toyed with her. It sort of pulled at her a little bit with a claw. And it got her right in the arm. Ah! She squealed like a little bunny rabbit. And that's where Vladimir came in. What? Anna! Anna! What's wrong, Anna? And he grabs his Glock out of his vest. He's like, what's wrong? He racks around in it. Chambers around. Just a little tiny Glock. 9mm. Anna, what the hell's going on? And he's scared, you know, because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. He doesn't know if there's other guys hanging around or what. And that's when Anna quickly turns and begins crawling toward him. And Vladimir heard the bellow. Anna turns around in terror, her arm bloodied from the bear scraping her. She turns around on the ground, on her back. And that's when the bear attacks her. It just jumps atop her and grabs her by her collarbone, picks her up over its head, and slams her back into the ground. And Vladimir sees this going on. He looks over there, and he sees this girl just getting flung by the bear and slammed into the ground. Alright? What a heinous scene this must have been for him. So, the bear tries to drag her into the woods. You can see just its muscles just protruding through its hide. And it reaches down and it grabs her little tiny ankle and wraps his jaws around it, just like that. Sort of like, you know, like here's his jaws, here's her little tiny ankle, and just wraps his jaws around her and just begins dragging her by it. And she's just, her little hands, her fingernails, her long fingers are just dragging in the dirt. It's just tearing her away into the dark as it's robbing her, attempting to hold her captive, attempting to steal her soul. Vladimir didn't know what to do. He rushes out there and he sees this scene of this hulking bear with its neck down like this, just dragging this girl by her ankle like this, like sort of shuffling back into the woods. And then Anna's just being dragged. You know, just being dragged into the woods. And he had no choice. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna go jump on the damn thing's back? You know what I'm saying? What would you guys do? Let me know in the comments below. So he does what he thought was best. He pulls his gun. Ah! Stand still! Boom! Boom! But he begins just unloading at the center of mass, and that's when the monster dropped her. It let her go. Her leg was all torn up, just open flesh, a festering wound, right? And plus down here by her little tiny ankle, it almost severed her freaking bone. Its fangs, I mean, they can be like this long, all right? Like 3-4 inches long, these massive fangs, very thick. And it protruded through her muscle, through her shin, through her skin, through her tendon, and into her freaking bone. All right? But she was left there, just screaming, just holding herself. Oh my God, help me! Just screaming. That's when the bear started rushing toward Vladimir. And what he does is he unloads a couple more times. These bullets just come, just whizzing by its head. One of them sticking right in its skull. But it doesn't even care. It doesn't even faze it. You know, it's insane. Just a side note. I knew a guy from Alaska. Not even kidding you guys, this big old feller, right? This is about 15 years ago. The guy was like 20 years old. His dad had a bear charge him, and he shot it with one of those 45-70s. Boom! Boom! He took the big old grizzly out because it charged him. And what he found in its skull was a 44 Magnum round. Just wedged in its skull, and it healed over it. The bone was all formed back over the damn bullet, all right? These bears can take it, especially the grizzlies, especially the brown bears. And this 9mm, I mean, it stuck into the damn thing's hand, but, you know, it just kept coming. Poor little Anna was left desolate. And Vladimir shoots again. Pa! Pa! And a bullet whizzes by the bear. And it goes back, and it sticks right in Anna's kneecap. It protrudes through her freaking kneecap. The screams were deafening. All right? Absolutely horrifying. Vladimir knew that he hit her. And he threw his gun down. He was like, no! And he threw his gun down, and this bear was still coming after him. Just lurching after him. And then, before he could even know it, he jumps on him and just crunches him down to the ground. His upper body just sort of compacting, you know, just, I don't even want to think about the damage done to his spine in that moment. And the bear begins ripping into him. He's screaming bloody death. And then Anna is as well, screaming like a little bunny stuck in a trap. It was so piercing. I don't know. I think the screams irritated the bear. All right. These screams are just going into its little ears and just piercing its brain. And it was bleeding in a couple spots in its neck. You know, a bullet hit its neck, a bullet hit its shoulder. A bullet had it in the side back when he first shot it, when it was on top of Anna. The little shot in the skull was bleeding. All right? And the bear was still atop Vladimir. Just drool oozing out of his mouth. Then it wraps its mouth around his skull. Ah! Ah! And it shoves his skull into the dirt. Boom! Ah! And its teeth, his big old jaws are right here wrapped around his skull. Ah! Ah! And it begins just squeezing its jaws. Ah! And its eyeball starts popping out. You know, it starts popping out. His skull begins to crack like an egg. Ah! But then suddenly it just let go. And Vladimir was there on the ground with his neck all kinked and his eyeball popping out a little bit. And as soon as it came, the bear backed up. just breathing so heavy. Oh, it was like exhausted from this episode. And it looked over at Anna. It just saw her she's just in so much pain, and they're holding her kneecap. The blood was just squirting out from the bullet hitting it. Her shin was all ripped up. Her thigh was all ripped up. Her collarbone had some damage. And then it looked over back at Vladimir. It looked over back at Anna. It stepped back a couple more times. It looked over back at Vladimir. And Vladimir moved. And then the bear saw him move, so it jumped on him again. It just picked him up and throwing it into the ground, slammed him into the ground like it did Anna at the beginning, just body slammed him. And his body was stiff. It sort of ripped him like a pit bull. And then it let him go again. And I think he knew not to move at that point. And the bear backed up and he said, Anna, don't move. And she heard him. He was like, don't move. And the bear looked at him again for making the noise, but didn't attack him. And it backed up and backed up. And then it vanished into the night. So, it took about 20 minutes. Their bodies were laying there desolate and mangled. Vladimir managed to crawl over to Anna. Oh, are you okay? He sort of flipped her over and he started fixing something for her knee. Just a part of his shirt, he ripped it up and tried to wrap it around her knee, tie it around her tight like a tourniquet. And they crawled to the road. He dragged her to the damn road. And they were just waving their arms every time a car would go by, and then it started getting dark. But someone saw him. Some onlooker picked them up, their mangled carcasses, called 911, started rushing them to a hospital. And they made it, and their wounds were treated, and, they get to deal with this stuff for the rest of their lives. But a crew was set out to find the bear. They saw the scene. They saw the ground torn up like a rototiller went through it. All right, their bike was still sitting up on its kickstand, their motorcycle. Their helmets were sprawling about, but the scene was full of blood and ripped up clothes. And the bear was just never found. They could see the shells that he unloaded. He unloaded about 15 shells. Bum, 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 just all over the ground. Many of which hit the bear. But it was just gone. All right. Now, it's so vast where this attack occurred out in Russia that it would, who knows where the bear could have gone. It could have went hundreds of miles, over the course of several days. So it's just, you don't know where the hell it is. Maybe it died, I don't know. But if you guys will like the video, what would you have done in this situation to maybe diffuse the situation with the bear? Let me know in the comments below. And again, like this video. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps your old boy out. Alright? And more videos to come. See you tomorrow with more chilling tales from the Iceman.